What's up, everyone? This is Paolo.
This is Akshay.
Welcome to another video for Therapist Threads. So we wanted to just reflect a little bit on some of the things about graduate school, starting grad school, first year, things like that, and hopefully y'all may find something.
Funny because we have no more classes. Are you taking any classes?
No.
Yeah, we both just finished classes.
But anyway, these are just some of the things we noticed. So first of all, books, right? And just schoolwork in general. There's a lot of reading in grad school. I don't know about, y'all's program, but in our program, there's a lot of reading. So,
yo, Paulo, what do you have, man? That bag.
oh, this?
Yeah.
Oh, it's all books, man.
Wait, those are books?
Yeah. You know that class is crazy right now. We got like all this reading and whatnot.
Looks like a gym bag.
You know, like, it's really cool if you're really enthusiastic about the reading. A lot of the reading you're assigned to do is really interesting, and it can be a lot. So just keep that in mind. And yeah. So,
I mean, and again, that's a major thing to really realize. I think for me is discerning which are required readings and which are additional readings.
Yeah.
You're gonna get assigned a lot of books and a lot of different things to read, and it's good to so some professors I've had have been like, this is what you need, and this is, supplemental stuff. And sometimes I would read the additional supplemental things, but sometimes, really, if you have that many classes and that many books to read, it's okay to let like some of the additional stuff go down the wayside.
Especially as your clinical work picks up. And
exactly.
Like that,
I think the good thing to understand is you're not just in school, you're also doing clinical work, depending on your program, but that could be a lot to balance.
Yeah. Another quick thing, and we might have said this, and we're both wearing some jerseys right now. I'm wearing the Filipino national team jersey, LA Tenorio.
My Warriors jersey. I've been a Warriors fan for a long time.
Yeah,
so in case any haters are out there.
Talk a little bit about dress code, and we're going to get into this a little bit later in another video, but for graduate school,
but this is specifically for school.
For school, yeah. It really depends on kind of the culture at your school. You'll notice even among teachers, like some teachers will come in fully, dressed really nicely, suit, jacket, everything. Some people will come in like a motorcycle jacket and like gardening gear. Shout out, y'all. Y'all know who that is if you're in school. Though. Y'all know who that is. But anyway, not to mention any names, but it really depends. Like sometimes you wear more formal stuff. Sometimes when we have speakers and stuff. But I think Akshay and I like mostly wore t-shirts and a hoodie.
That was my thing.
That was like, yeah.
Actually, both of it. This is t-shirt.
Just because sometimes you in class for like 9 hours, 10 hours. Like if you have class from early morning to night, it just sometimes it just all depends on your level of comfort.
And I get cold really easily.
Yeah.
we're from pretty hot countries.
Yeah, we don't have good cold weather endurance. You know what I'm saying?
So yeah, anytime it's anything cold, I'm gone.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about teachers. Let's talk a little bit more about teachers. So first of all, you have a lot of different kinds of teachers with a lot of different kinds of titles. Some teachers will really want you to call them doctor. It's like you will address them as Dr. So-and-so, or they'll give you a look like,
what are you doing? Respect.
What you doing?
Respect me. Put some respect on my name.
Basically, put my respect on all my titles and whatnot, which is understandable.
Okay.
Like,
that's they worked hard to get there.
Yeah, so it's cool, and it's a sign of respect. I understand that. Some teachers will like cringe in like discomfort way if you call them Dr. So-and-so. They'll want you to just call them by their first name, and that's cool too. Like I respect both. I think but it's also important to know, and it's okay to ask. It's okay to ask.
I was gonna say, always ask if you're unsure.
Yeah.
Ask. It doesn't, like, even when I'm addressing emails sometimes, I'd be like, at the very end, I'd be like, oh, I addressed you as doctor, but I'm just really curious. What would you like? What would you prefer to be addressed by?
Yeah. So teachers in graduate school, they can be really awesome. They can be really helpful, and a lot of teachers will really actually take time to talk to you. So definitely take advantage of that if you have questions, concerns, whatnot. So let's move a little bit into what to kind of expect from classes, just a little reflection on classes. We'll talk a little bit about participation. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Or you want to go about students and peers?
We'll go into that.
But participation, I'll talk about my experience participating. The first couple years, I barely participated. I'm more of a absorption learner. So I'll stay in class, I'll listen actively, take notes when I can, and participate when I can. But sometimes I may not speak as much as other people. And sometimes I would even have professors come and ask me like, yeah, actually, what are your opinions on this? I'd be like, nothing, really. And that's okay. I think I've had the great professors I've had have not pushed me or have asked me to participate when I'm not comfortable participating for something, or mainly because I'm just there to learn. I don't really have anything to provide, or I feel like I don't really have anything else to provide input on, and that's okay. I think it's good to. I always say step up, step down for a lot of things too. I think we had a previous video about challenging yourself too, and for me, challenging myself is to know when I can participate. So. There have been times when I'm proud of myself for actually being able to speak up when I did. So being able to step up. And for those of you who are very active participators.
That's like me. I'm like trying to hold myself back right now. You feel me? No, I'm just kidding. But like, yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, like to step back when you can. I think you told me you have a technique for that.
I do a thing where I count to 10, sometimes 15 or 20, but I'll just count by like tapping like on the desk or whatever, just like very quietly, obviously not like super loud. But that's my way of just counting so that I can, because I'm usually one to just step in and just step in with a comment or step in with a question. But that actually helps me to step back and let other voices fill the room or just allow for more space so I'm not necessarily taking over a conversation. And that's something I constantly need to work on. So yeah. So yeah, that's participation. Now I know that a lot of society tends to emphasize and make seems to value extroversion, and I just want to say from being on the side of the TA as well, so I've TA'd a couple classes as well, like some of the most intelligent and best learning that goes on happens with the students that aren't talking at all, and I've noticed that mainly through like reading people's journals and writing and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like papers and stuff.
And even maybe you could agree or disagree with this, but even if you are extroverted or very open to talking and communicating and participating, even your internal learning that you do when you're quiet is when you are growing inside and in yourself, right?
Definitely.
And that's something that can never really be measured by participation. And that's why I always cherished about the things that I like to do is every time there'd be a lecture or something, my mind would be just constantly cycling through thoughts and different things I'm thinking about as I'm getting lectured, like critical thinking, like trying to dissect what I'm being taught. So all that learning was going inside. I didn't really feel like I had to put it out on the table for the class.
Yeah. And I think that's a really great transition into the last thing we want to discuss today is your peers, your colleagues, the people that you're working with. Now, one of the biggest lessons, and I tell incoming classes this all the time, is like you don't realize, especially in this work where you're learning to do therapy and stuff like that, how much you learn and how much you gain from working with other people. So Akshay and I were in the same case conference model. It was us and like 7 other students, so 9 of us and 1 professor, and just trying to figure out, and like we discuss cases, we'd share cases, present cases and whatnot. And we've talked about this previously, but you learn so much from each other. You don't necessarily have to be friends with everybody, best friends with everybody. I mean, that does happen, you know. And at the same time, like, that's one really great way to learn, just by observing other people's styles, observing other people's ideas and whatnot. So,
and especially if it's a very supportive, very cooperative sort of environment, and collaborative, I think is the better word. You really bounce ideas off of each other, and even feedback that you're given from other people and the feedback that you're giving is not like critical feedback. It's like nurturing feedback. And I learned to adopt different styles even when I'm working with a lot of my patients because of the things that I would hear from other people's work. And I'd be like, well, that's a really cool thing. It's awesome. I know one time you told me about like positive restructuring.
I'm not sure what it was, but
cool. That was really cool. I was like,
the one thing I taught Akshay. Akshay's taught me like a billion other things.
But I was like, man, Paulo, that was really cool, and I ended up using it like with several patients that when it was appropriate. But yeah, it's really cool how this having that learning environment and keeping an open mind to learning from other people can really help you develop.
And a big part of that, just to real quick, is humility. So our questions for today, number one, if you are a first year student and you have other questions, other reflections, either on some of the stuff we shared or just other things, make sure to let us know. We'll try to address those another time, possibly. We'll address them another time. And then also, if you've been through that first year process before, what are some tips that you have? If you're a professor too, like what are some tips you have for students, advice, whatnot? That's pretty much it.
Yeah, so. That's it. And we'll see you in the next one. Peace.